Give thanks and praise. Much love and respect. Glad everybody's coming back for more. This one is going to be very rambly, very scattered. I'm going to refer back to a half a dozen of my previous videos. So anybody who hasn't been in it for the long haul, you will probably be lost. This is a grand culmination of a broad swath of previous revelations from all of my research, digging very far back. And I have such a list of names of people I need to appreciate for this one. Snake Jones, you champion. Big love to you, brother. Big love. Dizerda in my comment section. He is a linguistic master who I just love his comments. Always shines a new light on my own thoughts. So big love to Dizerda. Also, Rising from the Ashes had Dave Matheson on. And I listened to their show last night with Dave Matheson going in deep on Ophi-betic. And it's a long show. I'll try to link it in the show notes. And it is towards the end when they really find the treasure of Ophi-betic. And, you know, they begin to assert that Ophi-betic is Moses. He is also a Jesus figure. Many amazing things to think about. But that is kind of where I'm going to draw everything I've learned and build up to the Ophi-betic significance in a major way. Big love to the Weaving Spiders, Chance, Alan, Gordy, Jim, Sean, anybody else, Rachel, all of you, everybody, big love. This is definitely a collective accomplishment. Also, L.C. King with his lunar standstill work, blowing my mind. That other people see the significance of this. So this really is a culmination of many, many great discoveries and great minds. And I hope to bring it all together into a very powerful decode, further substantiating this Diction of Aries cipher that I've come to enjoy and appreciate in a major way. Essentially drawing down the heavenly figures into our language and the building blocks, the fundamentals of our efforts to communicate. All right. So during flow state the other night, I was having a good old time with Google Translate, as I love to do. And I discovered that in Latin, the word aris, A-R-I-S, aris or arise, translates to the word altar. And this is where I hope to come full circle. I want to come back to the altar at the end. And so I call this cipher the Diction of Aries. And I find it very interesting that in Latin there is a case to be made that this is the altar. This is the grand, where the work is done. This is the table where the transmutation of heavenly figures are brought down to culminate all of the elements into quite the spell. Quite the spell. So altar. Also, Aris translates to green dragon and dragon root. That is so powerful. Everybody should know about the Green Dragon Lodge, the Green Dragon Inn in Boston, where the founding fathers of this country would convene and plot and scheme. The Revolutionary War was made in that very fateful location. And it is rumored that they initiated one another by drinking from a silver gilded skull. It was the skull of Blackbeard, the greatest pirate of all history. So I find that very profound, that Aries means altar. It also has green dragon and dragon root baked into its Latin translations. Now, this also inspired another very significant point that I want to put forward, and that is that quite a while ago, I'll try to bring the graphic back up and maybe splice it into the video here. I wrote the word tarot card in reverse, and I got drac to rat. Drac to rat. I thought that was very amazing. So I went in and I looked at the Chinese zodiac. And wouldn't you know, drac is in Aries, right here, the beginning point, and rat is down here at the end of Sagittarius, in the beginning of Capricorn, having to do with further substantiating this 9-month cipher being the 9 months of the alphabet that make up the 260 to 270 degrees of this wheel, and excluding this 3-month gap right here. So beautifully enough, the word tarot card in reverse is a encode of the significance of this 9 to 3 proportion of the 12-month cycles. Very powerful. It's essentially giving us this code in a very beautiful way. Tarot card in reverse. So drac to rat is Aries to Capricorn, basically. Now this comes through from Dizerda, big up brother. We had a very fun conversation. Dizerda was elucidating on the word zir, Z-I-R, and how in Hebrew it means the crown and it means the seed. And this made me think of Pfizer, the seed of Phi, as this is the Proto-Indo-European language, but also, you know, zero, zir, zero, the crown of the O. And that's pretty amazing because I put my zero marcation right here in the beginning of Aries, and I think of it as a seed. You know, the zero would be the seed that this sprout is coming up out of. This crowning accomplishment, breaking out of the earth and rising into the new year. And something else that is very important is to think about the fact, because this will come into play later in this presentation, that the Hebrew alphabet was 22 letters long, which meant if this were the Hebrew cipher, it would only extend here to the V. It would stop on the V. And that is very important because I'm going to really hone in on this location on our Diction of Aries cipher today. And so ultimately my target I'm aiming for is the T-U-V. T-U-V. And the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet is Tav. Tav is the final letter, the 22nd letter. And it means feet. Tav means feet. It means life, it means death, it means feet. It's also a bit of a gateway. I think of Tav as a initiatory ritual, a rite of passage in so many ways, because it also ties into Tavila, which is a Hebrew baptism, a Judeo-Hebrew baptism ritual, having to do with Tavistock. All right. It's going to be really hard to keep this information concise. So next I want to move into the lunar standstill. This was a personal revelation very early in my work, just so people don't have to go so far back. A quick synopsis is that as a child, I always was amazed by the fact that on the seventh day, God rested. And rested always just was screaming out for acknowledgement to me, because it's in alphabetical order, R-S-T. And sure enough, I started to look into it. One of my early videos, maybe I'll link it in the show notes, I discovered that right in between R and S, there is a very sacred number. Excuse me. And it has to do with the lunar standstill. And when I looked up the lunar standstill, it was staring me in my face again. R-S-T, lunar standstill. And sure enough, in that location is this very powerful number, 18.6. Basically, what I did originally was I added 19 and 18 gives you 37. Then I divided it by the T, I split it in half, and you get 18.5, which is very close to this lunar standstill. So much love to L.C. King for substantiating that even further. It is an incredibly significant number, and I'm still appreciating the magic of this. This, I believe, has to do with Akhenaten. This has to do with the moon pillar and the sun pillar. 18 is the moon, 19 is the sun, and Chance and I are, we're pondering maybe that 18 should be the sun, 19 should be the moon. Maybe there's a switch up in the higher echelons of magical orders. But this significance of this cannot be underappreciated, should not be underappreciated. We must really consider the significance of this. So I've done the R, S to the T. And now I want to move into the T, U, and the V. So the lunar standstill falls at the scales on my cipher here, which is interesting because the scales are in balance. It's a balancing point. It's the center of number 37 here, which the 37th parallel is my dividing line for my tarot Tories. So the fact that the lunar standstill and the number 37 falls on my equinox line is very powerful, because that is also the 37th parallel in my tarot Tories work, which I will splice in some images to give people visual context for that. So now, moving down from the balance point of the scales and the lunar standstill, right in that middle marcation, I want to move into the T, to the U, to the V. And that will involve Mercury. Just a few videos back, I was really trying to drive home the significance of the G to the H to the G, even the P to the Q, or the P to the H, and how Mercury is this 7 to the 8 that guards the gates. Let's see. 7 and 8. 16 is a 7, 17 is an 8, and it's guarding this gate at these equinox and solstice lines. And there are 3 of them. 1, 2, 3 78s guarding the gates. So I'm going to shift into some of this information, drawing up many of my old videos and try to bring them into a concise presentation here. HG is Mercury on the periodic table. Mercury goes in 2 directions. Mercury is the twins. He has that duplicitous double 2 directions. He has a face looking forward and a face looking backwards. So GH and HG both represent Mercury. Mercury is very duplicitous. And so 8 times 7, funny enough, gives you a 56, which is the number of cards in the minor arcana. You could think of this as the key to the gates. GH is also Mercury, as it reads in the cipher in that order, G to H. And in the periodic tables, it's H to the G. So 78, 87, all very powerful signs and symbols that you're looking at a key to higher understanding. 7, 8, I also have done a cipher on this. That's a GR and an 8, as R reduces to a 9. Anything you add to 9, the 9 just disappears and it remains the same. So GR equals 7 and 8. So here we have the word great. And 7 to 8 is the number of cards in the major, including the major arcana. Actually, excuse me. I guess that's technically an error, not the major. Major arcana is Tav, 22. That's the number in the whole tarot. And you will notice the 2, 2 in the arrow. All right. So, great. G8. Great. Well, everybody knows about Hermes Mercury Trismegistus was known as thrice great. Hermes is thrice great. So what happens when you triple the Tav, when you multiply the great by 3? 3 times 78 gives you 234. This is so amazing to me. This is so amazing to me because when you go back to the cipher, the T, the U, and the V, these numbers reduce to 2, 3, and 4. 234 is allegedly the number for the axial tilt of the Earth, 23.4 degrees. That's next level amazing to me. It is the tip, it is the tilt of the Earth. So there's so much encoded in that, I'm not going to even be able to give it full value or full acknowledgement. But I need to really focus on this TUV equaling the 23.4, that tilt of the Earth, the axial tilt. And I will point out, thank you, Snake Jones. One of your little comments in Telegram today blew my mind because this is the 432 hertz. This is amazing to me, the significance of making Hermes thrice great, multiplying 78 by 3, giving you the 234 is really blowing my mind. It's absolutely blowing my mind. So right here, so we've mentioned Tav means foot. And at the foot of the TUV is the W. And this has to do, there's a video out there, I'll try to link that one, having to do with De Vere's and John Dee and the grand code of the Mason, of Francis Bacon, Edward De Vere. This W is very important, and a lot of people know about 23 being a super sacred secret number. It has to do with that axial tilt, has to do with this location, this point right here on the grand code of the diction of Aries. This point right here. That is the location in time. The W is pointing at the soul of Ophiuchus. This W is pointing at November 22nd. That's the day that JFK was killed. And what does a 22 give you? It gives you the Tav. It gives you the foot, the feet. It's pointing at the soul of Ophiuchus. And that is absolutely profound because just last night, our brother Jim, much love Jim, dropped a question on me regarding an event that happened most recently. And apparently in Georgia, there were 100 goat heads found in the river. 100 headless goats. Goats with no head were found in a river in Georgia. The Chattahoochee Chattahoochee River, I think it was, with 100 headless goats floating down the river. And that was actually, I believe it was multiple events. You know, the goats were coming in 30s and 40s and large installations of headless goats floating down that river. Also, apparently some chickens in the mix, which is very profound, as these are all symbols of the Baphomet. Goats are, the Baphomet is the goat-headed god of the Knights Templar. The articles that they're putting out, they're trying to blame it on Santeria, as though white people don't practice magic as well. I find that very culturally insensitive to blame it on Santeria. I've said it before, I think the Ophiuchus is the Baphomet. And anybody who gets their ears around Weaving Spiders number 63, we went in deep on Ophiology. We are talking about Ophiology and this oikotype. Big love to the Rising from the Ashes. The oikotype of a goat-headed god with serpents coming out of his lap is much like Ophiuchus has snakes coming from between his legs. So I just wanted to make this video and point at this location right here on the star chart of the heavens and put it onto the map of the United States, because right here on this X marks the spot, we have the Georgia Guidestones. Absolutely, positively is an altar. This is an altar. Those Guidestones are a table where the sacrifices will be made. And I will do my best to splice in as many images as I can to deeply substantiate the powerful, powerful significance of that location on the geomantic system of the United States. And what I'm trying to say here is that Ophiuchus is the scapegoat. He's escaping off of the zodiac. He's stepping away. His heel is being punctured by the tail of the scorpion. He has 1 foot up, 1 foot down. And I believe that that is in a very dark system behind the scenes. That represents your higher self. That represents your, I hate to say it, I think it has to do with the placenta, the first offering, the first fruits. And for them to use this icon and covet it and keep it a secret and obscure it from the world is very important, that we give some overstanding to the system, because essentially Hollywood has moved to Georgia and they are going to channel a lot of dark and nefarious energy into that location going forward from this point on. And that will be used to build self-hate. Hate for the Ophiuchus, hate for the magical systems that are in place in that location. But what I think is nefarious about that is the fact that the Ophiuchus is you. You are the Ophiuchus. You're stepping away, breaking away from the tribulations of life. That is the Ophiuchus. He is turning his back on the mundane, and he is rising up to a higher level. And so it is a very complex thing to try to explain, but I do believe the Ophiuchus is a beautiful symbol, and we are being encouraged to vilify and demonize the symbol that is supposed to represent yourself. And so I will just put this symbol into your mind, and when you see it, just understand that this is being hijacked by dark magicians, and they are doing so in an effort to dishearten our faith in one another and in ourselves. And so I just want to put this entire spell on blast. And I hope people understand, appreciate, and get the gist of what I'm trying to lay down here. And I'm not making any assertions. I'm not naming any names other than the people who have helped me come to a deeper and higher understanding of this grand magical system that is afoot. Much love, everybody. Bless our souls. Okay, I'm not done. I thought I was done, but I'm not done. I was just walking away, reviewing my video footage, and seeing things from a more objective angle, and a grand revelation has come to me. Deeply substantiating the value of this codex, this diction of Aris, the altar, the table. This is the round table, the Knights of the Round Table. This is so beautiful. This sequence of letters, O-P-Q-R-S-T-U-V. In light of everything I just got done presenting, Ophiuchus, the sign of Ophiuchus, is generally begins at November 22nd, the sacrificing of the king of JFK. This is out of control. This is out of control. O-P-Q-R-S-T-U-V is encoding O-P-Q-R-S-T-U-V. This is Ophiuchus rests his tav, his feet, his foot. Ophiuchus rests his foot at the W. This is the W, the double of you. This is your twin. This is your higher self. This is your divine holy guardian, HG, holy guardian. This is your twin, Mercury, HG. That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. I definitely believe that the Ophiuchus is a divine expression of your double, your higher self. And the Baphomet is a smokescreen, a facade, a filter, so that those who cannot look at the shadow self will project insecurities onto the Baphomet and not see that it is actually a divine expression of your higher self breaking through the veil, piercing the veil. This is pretty powerful information. And we are looking at a system that is has protected itself, probably at the cost of some people's lives, you could say. You know, recently our man Michael Waugh went and did a presentation with the Masonic order, telling them about some of their own lost history. And I would almost venture to believe that some of the sacred knowledge has been lost to a lot of these orders. And I just think it's absolutely beautiful that through an organic process, you know, the circles that I run with, we're uncovering this ophiology and its deeply sacred significance. You know, and eventually, maybe in my next video, I'll tie this into more deeply into the Vatican and the Echidna, that is the goddess of the Vatican. And also how that relates to insurance, the most lucrative industry on this planet. And that is why it is obscured and hidden and not to be revealed. Okay, I think I'm going to end on that note. So much love and respect, everybody. You know, love your neighbors and give yourselves some credit. We're bringing light into a very dark place, and we're going to shine like the sun, baby. Much strength, much wisdom.